This is the moment a woman literally rose from the dead.
It really feels like we're about to invade the moon. It looks like sci-fi and CGI, but it's actually real.
What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another Forbidden Feed. As usual, take these videos with a grain of salt. You decide what's true or false. Time is valuable, so I won't waste any. Let's jump right into it. These Ukrainian army videos are getting pretty wild. It's like taking them right off the street, snatching them. This is so sad.
I set up a foundation in Ukraine before Ukraine became independent of Russia. And the foundation has been functioning ever since.
If you know who that is, you won't be surprised.
And it played an important part in events now.
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me. I love you, Richard Mill. What do you do for a living? I have a water show.
Doesn't even give him any time of day. Just looks at him like, get away, peasant.
Okay, so my son and I are driving, and this is what we see in the sky. Like, look at those colors. That is so bright. Like, there's nothing else around. I don't know where
The hell is that?
but it's so bright in colors.
It's like a colorful rainbow dragon.
So cool.
Oh my God! Wow!
Another plane.
Y ellos arrancaron ahora, papá.
¿Van de regreso? ¿Yo arranco de aquí, va?
Sí.
¿Van de regreso?
Están dando la vuelta.
¿Van de regreso, sí? ¿Para aterrizar al aeropuerto aquí?
No, pero si siguió para allá se jodió.
I saw a stat yesterday. Somebody was saying that 2024 had more plane crashes or more plane incidents than 2025 has had at this time of the year, which only brings me to believe that they're pushing it in our face to try to get us to stop traveling for some reason. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments.
Please hover your palm to pay.
Alright, so I'll be making payment with my palm now.
Pompeii? Pompeii. So I guess you like register your hand and like the lines on your hand. I guess it's kind of a good thing though, because then if you can do that, then why would you need to have a chip in your wrist?
Not too many people are talking about what just took place in Chile, y'all, and what you're looking at here is basically the whole country except for 2 regions have lost power. 8 to 19 million people currently have no power in Chile. Nothing is working. Cell phones, internet service, nothing is currently working in Chile.
With a bad business in his hand and she down for whatever. In the back of his mind is Coretta, and she knows, and I know she knows, and I know she knows, and deep down she knows.
That's an interesting rabbit hole to jump down. The one before too with Beyonce and Sia, where Sia's putting out cryptic messages or whatever, and the beginning of each word of the sentence ends up writing out Beyonce kidnapped me, and then another one that reads out help. That's some wild shit. But these Podesta emails and the comment ping pong and like all that kind of stuff, you can't find it anymore on the internet. So when it gets scrubbed like that, you know something's up. So if you can find some information on that, that's a wild conspiracy hole to jump down.
They've been keeping this from you. This is the underground city that was found beneath Los Angeles by a man named Warren Shufelt. It was discovered using a device he invented to detect underground tunnels and caverns. Shufelt mapped out a network of passageways stretching for miles beneath the city. And here is where it gets crazy. His maps indicated a central chamber filled with gold and advanced artifacts. Shufelt said that upon analysis of the artifacts and the scriptures found within the passageways, they all pointed to a lost continent named Lemuria. Despite his groundbreaking findings, city officials abruptly shut down his excavation. They officially claimed that the tunnels were old subway lines, but this is where they messed up. The Los Angeles subway system didn't begin operation until 1990, over 70 years after Schufelt's discovery. So what subway lines were they referring to? Some speculate that they were referring to an ancient civilization that had access to a subway-like system. Some have even gone further to say that the city officials had knowledge from the future. They knew that Los Angeles would eventually have a running subway system in the years to come. Therefore, it would be the perfect cover-up, perfectly concealing its true origins.
These UFO videos are so hard to tell, like, whether it's real or not. Like, let me know in the comments. Pretty good track, though. Good track, dude.
The most dangerous situation is in Africa, because of course Africa is absolutely the most important continent on the planet. The most important continent to the planet. And the next most important, and therefore the next most at-risk region, is the Middle East. The Middle East and Africa power the whole global economy. They power everything that makes so-called modern life possible. It's all made possible by the Middle East and Africa. And if the West was an actually civilized civilization, that would mean that peace and stability in the Middle East and in Africa should be of paramount importance. Good relations and harmonious dealings and so on, that would be the priority if they were civilized people. But of course the West is not civilized. And if you have something that they need, if you have something that they want, then they do not see you as a friend. They don't see you as a friend that they want to be close to and have good relations with. They see you as an enemy that they want to subjugate. They see the world in a predator-prey paradigm.
Sutro Heights, San Francisco. I've already found a stamped brick with ARR, and we know that what used to be there said T, car. It's TCARR. Look at this.
Okay.
You can see the that there are still fully intact bricks in what is otherwise fully melted, like that one right there. Much of it is melted beyond recognition, but a lot of it, like this, is still obviously a wall. Now, how old is this tree? How long ago did this happen?
So if that's not just some old building that's crumbled and it actually is some kind of ancient wall or something, then that would mean that there would have had to been like a factory if it was stamping bricks, which is pretty interesting. That'd be like some Tartarian shit.
It's all brick, and it's all melted down like as if it was candle wax hit with a blowtorch. Like flowing down channels.
It's definitely not an old building, so that's interesting. It's like a hill. They're claiming it's a hill made out of brick and mortar. What the
Channels of melted bricks. Like right there. Look at that. Still bricks sitting there, and that's the same kind of brick that this is, that's stamped.
That's an interesting one.
You can even see some sort of other detail right there. Yeah, all brick and all melted in a heat event that must have been similar to nuclear fire. Because what temperature would it take to turn bricks into this?
This newly released footage shows the Dragonfire laser-directed energy weapon system in action, and it could be in the hands of military personnel in 5 years' time. It destroys targets with an intense beam of light and has pinpoint accuracy. It's able to hit something the size of a £1 coin from a kilometre away.
Did Bill and Melinda Gates actually die in 2013? Let's discuss. So, according to Ancestry.com, Bill and Melinda Gates actually died in 2013. So, if you see here, it says that Bill Gates, William Bill Henry Gates, died on the 29th of July 2013, and then Melinda died after July 2013. Now, I'm not saying I believe this, but a lot of people online speculate that this is correct information, that Bill and Melinda died in 2013 and they were cloned, or else an imposter was put into their place. You know how weird shiz happens with the elite? Let me know your thoughts in the comments and like and follow for more.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looked like the Gmail logo.
Ain't no way everyone here is a real person. Life is a simulation, and a legitimate professor has proved it. James Gates, a theoretical physicist at MIT with 2 bachelor degrees and a PhD, found literal computer code embedded in the most fundamental building blocks of reality, called strings. Now, string theory is a tough one, but I'm gonna break it down for you in a way that an 11-year-old would understand. So if you don't get this, hey, go back to grade 5, bro. Alright, so we got my boy Einstein's theory of general relativity, which is basically just a theory of everything big. Planets, gravity, the universe, all the way back to the Big Bang. Then we got the new kid in town, quantum physics. This is the theory of everything small, like particles, atoms, and molecules, where the general laws of physics like gravity don't apply anymore. The same is true the other way around. Quantum laws don't apply to regular-sized physics. So we got general relativity, everything big, and quantum physics, everything small. Like, yo, dig. But both of these realms have the same parent, the Big Bang, at which point everything that is now big used to be small. If the small can become big, then quantum and general relativity need some sort of theory that can unify them. That is string theory. What happens to the big when it's small? What happens when you zoom into an atom? You see protons and neutrons in the center with electrons all around it. Now, what about inside a neutron? Even smaller particles called quarks. So how deep does the scale go? Conventional science will tell you there's nothing inside these quarks. Okay. But string theory suggests there's a tiny filament or a string of pure energy that exists inside of them. And just like the string of a guitar vibrates and creates different sound based on its shape and tension, the strings in string theory vibrate. But instead of sound, they produce matter in the form of particles. This completely changes the way you look at the world. Every particle in the universe is just a string vibrating at a different frequency, and every vibrational pattern has its own associated particle. So if you break anything down far enough, we're all just energy vibrating at differing wavelengths to form matter. Although it's still just a theory, this would link general relativity to the quantum realm and form what is known as the theory of everything. Okay, yeah, cool. Now where is this computer code found? When Dr. James Gates took a look at a set of equations derived from string theory, he found binary code, error correcting code used for compressing data on a computer. A sequence of ones and zeros, the same code that is used by popular search engines, which according to him, who has a PhD in theoretical physics from MIT, doesn't just resemble computer code, it literally is computer code.
The Matrix, yo.
Meaning, if we break matter and energy down far enough, we eventually find compressing computer code etched into the very fabric of reality. So, who wrote this code? Are we living in, dare I say, a simulation?
4, 3, 2, 1. Earth below us, drifting, falling, floating, weightless, calling, calling.
A man on TikTok has been experiencing a strange transformation in his body, a shape-shifting transformation according to him, after having spent some time in the Navy. And this is his first video on TikTok. Check this out.
A real reptilian eye doesn't necessarily have a slit. It has a membrane that can slide back and forth, allowing people to see a little bit better in the dark. It also allows you to change the color of your eye just a little bit. If you notice the changes on my page, I've had these changes the last year and a half. Share it if you want. Say it's cap if you want. I don't give a shit, but it's real.
After having his account and his videos deleted, he opened a second account and uploaded this video. Check this out. Now.
What you're about to hear is real. My name, it's not too important. The information that I'm about to tell you is extremely important. I was an intelligence specialist with the United States Navy. Since then, if you watch my other videos, you realize that strange things have started to happen to my body. If you remember, my eye has started to get more of a slit in a reptilian, or I guess snake eye appearance. If you look at my other videos, or what I'm adding right here, you can actually see up close what my eye looks like. If you remember, my body in certain areas, like for example, you look at my elbows on both sides, I'm growing additional limbs. My hands, my thumbs, they're extending and growing too. At first, I just put out a cry for help on TikTok. I didn't know who's going to answer, who's going to respond. Other people out there that went through similar experiences. I'm one of, if you notice, the first people.
The second private spacecraft ever to soft land on the surface of the moon. And
touchdown came around 2:35 Central Time.
And we're seeing some of these images from this blue ghost. Can you take me through what we're seeing right now? Of course, you landed there at a crater of a volcano. What are we seeing right now on the screen?
Well, this is an earlier footage of last week when we're about 60 miles above the lunar surface. And this
That shit looks CGI for sure.
is before we were doing our final descent that we conducted yesterday. It really feels like we're about to invade the moon. It looks like sci-fi and CGI, but it's actually real. And the reason why it looks so different than in the past is because the video is high definition. We've never had this kind of coverage before. And so you're just going to see more and more surprises from this lunar lander and this team, because we're taking, footage of and taking science data that have never been done before.
The Eve and atom, today you call it atom, is the Eve genetics and the atom colliding. That's what you call genetic manipulation. That's what it was. They were doing this, splicing entity to existence. And they got kicked the fuck out. They got kicked out from the garden for doing this. Okay? And who was the first splice? Let me show you one of the first splice. As they told you, this is one of the first splice. They told you the snake was walking and tell Adam, eat the apple. Let me show you what the eat the apple is. Because what you see here is the first splicing, an up-working lizard. Okay? A lizard, up-working lizard, because they use human DNA. They use what you call genetic of those people. They use their gene and splice it with lizard, and they give you today your reptilian.
Get some help.
This is the moment a woman literally rose from the dead. Mourners of 76-year-old Bella Montoya were left stunned after their dead relative was heard banging on the inside of her coffin. The Ecuadorian woman made the shock resurrection during her wake, moments before she was bound to be buried. But how could something like this even happen? Ms. Montoya was declared dead at a hospital after suffering a stroke. Authorities have now determined the 76-year-old's stroke caused catalepsy, which can sometimes mimic death due to body stiffness, slower breathing, and decreased sensitivity to pain. But little did they know, Miss Montoya would soon come back to life. She is now back in the same hospital, recovering from both her stroke and being stuck inside of a coffin for 4 hours.
Can't even take a nap after a stroke without your family trying to bury you these days.
In December of 2017, I was hearing this in an unclassified setting with other people from academia and 2 CIA officers whom I recognized. So the second part is about CIA's interest in alien DNA. And the historian said that we had an interest in alien DNA going back since World War II. Now, didn't say that they completely knew about the alien DNA genome, because that technology did not happen until the 1990s. But there was an interest in some aspect of genetics.
Yes, absolutely.
Dealing with alien DNA. And more profound was that CIA was interested in certain humans that may have had an enhancement of this alien DNA. That is to say that basically we're all aliens in some respect. But some of us, some humans, have an enhancement of that alien DNA. And that was the first time I ever heard that. To me, that was the most shocking thing I ever heard of. I didn't know that.
Why were they so interested in the DNA of extraterrestrials and the DNA of humans that may contain extraterrestrials for maybe enhancements? I don't know.
There's a cognizance, I believe, within the intelligence community, particularly CIA, that there are humans among us that might be more extraterrestrial than human. And how do you identify them? That could be a major factor in why they were interested in that. And there's also the, I guess you would call contact tracing of like who's who.
Right.
And so what they did reveal that there was an interest in certain families.
How would you understand families?
I understand families to mean bloodlines.
Right.
That they were interested in certain bloodlines going back to
ancient times.
Who knows? Ancient times.
Did they mention other heritages around the planet that through this marker?
I was specifically told that the Cherokee heritage, the Cherokee Nation, had something to do with the phenomenon. And furthermore, that it has something to do with perhaps even the actual existence of Atlantis.
What happens when I die?
You wake up into spirit again. Remember, you've never left. You just wake up from this dream. Kind of in the same way, I would imagine that if you have a dream at night when you're sleeping and it seems so real, and then you wake up and you go, as real as that was, this is who I am. So when you die, as real as this seemed, oh yeah, this is who I am. I've just had this amazing dream and I'm going to learn from it. But this is me. And every level is probably like that. Oh yeah, this is who I am. So I think it's a series of aha wake-ups into going into spirit and dying. You know, and certain things seem to happen similarly for a lot of people in terms of you kind of like, okay, I'm looking back at this life I had. Again, you're kind of reviewing the dream. You learn from it. You might meet other beings that have gone on before you that are happy to greet you, crossing over again or waking up. I'm like, hi, you've been asleep. Hi, welcome back. Good morning. And you have different possibilities. Time and space are way more flexible there. You can manifest things probably pretty quickly, almost instantaneously, and make them seem very physical and very real, even though they may not be. That seems to be typical patterns people report from things like near-death experiences. But, you know, it's, I think, kind of like waking up because this is a dream.
So all our loved ones, our soul groups, shall we say?
You can have soul families, yeah, absolutely. Friends, families, why not? You have them here. There's no reason not to have them there, and they probably start there. Since this is a dream, the soul families really are probably more there than they are here, even though they can choose to say, all right, I'll share this dream with you, and I'll have an incarnation. But in reality, the spirit is not in the body is in the spirit. Because again, all you're doing when you die is, I'm expanding my focus. I'm taking the glasses off, taking the tunnel vision away. Oh yeah, look at how much more there is. Look at how much more I am. I remember now.
Have any of you actually discovered who this guy is yet? And I'm not talking about Jay-Z. I'm talking about this guy right here. A lot of celebrities have his art. And some celebrities idolize him so much they spend millions of dollars on his artwork and his hairstyles too. This is Jean-Michel Basquiat, the boyfriend of Madonna before the world even knew her name. And it kind of made me wonder why certain celebrities idolize him so much. For example, like his three-pointed crown, which was Chris Rock's first tattoo at the age of 55, in which LeBron James jumped in on that too. Same for P. Diddy and Dave Bautista. And it made me wonder why Hollywood finds Basquiat's artwork more unique than anyone else's. For one, articles state that he was a medium, a magician. His mission was nothing less than the restoration of powerful spiritual function to art, a channeling of the eternal through the ephemeral. Articles state that Basquiat was a scion of Haiti. He knows the lowest, the Haitian gods, and he knows what they sound like on a jazz record. He can hear Urzili when she's speaking through the clarinet, and he understands the relationship between possession on the dance floor that the gods are in, the music. And I find it extremely coincidental that P. Diddy has a massive back tattoo of Urzili or Azili Dantor on his back. They're pretty spot on, I'd say. And how ironic is it that Madonna depicts Alizé as well, right down to the heart. Many celebrities own his art, especially Ellen. And believe me, she has many.
Now, mercury in the mouth is a different story, because many people are going to say, well, what about mercury fillings? Well, mercury fillings are usually poison in the body. because they're filled with a whole bunch of different toxins, whole bunch of different chemicals. They're placed into the mouth, and then the mouth becomes a receiver. This is why sometimes when people have mercury fillings, they can begin to hear the radio because they are an antenna. Mercury also is really good at picking up antenna signals. So if you got mercury fillings in the mouth, might be time to go switch those out for something else, because you're picking up on everything, including the cell towers that are all around us. I took a piece of cinnabar, which that's what this is right here, and I wrapped it with copper and made a coil around it. And cinnabar, when you take a lighter and you put it up against this, it'll actually drop mercury. This is where mercury comes from the cinnabar stone. And if you squeeze it with the copper, or you wrap the copper around it to make a coil around it too, you create a piezoelectric effect. And this creates a little bit of voltage. And that little bit of voltage can be very healing. This is why when people squeeze crystals or rocks or stones in their hands, they get a little charge. You can almost feel it. It's almost like a little electrical charge. That's because you're creating a piezoelectric effect, which is creating energy.
How do people know all this stuff? Like, must watch a lot of TikToks.
Price of a Campbell's soup can was 10 cents for the longest time, and then what happened? It's now $1.24 per can. This might be the single best measure of food inflation over time. For over 100 years, the recipe has not changed. Same ingredients, same volume, making it the perfect benchmark. Notice how it started going up in the 1970s. In 1971, President Nixon ended the gold standard, meaning the US dollar was no longer tied to gold. This devalued the dollar and led to higher prices for everything, including Campbell's soup. So this Campbell's soup chart reveals a lot, and you can clearly see the spike of inflation in 2020. But here's the kicker. With better machines and farming techniques, making soup is far cheaper than it was 100 years ago. The price should have dropped from 10 cents to like 1 to 5 cents per can with better technology. Instead, because of inflation, the price of a Campbell's soup can costs 12 times more today.
This shit just got real. So y'all all know that Mr. Donald Trump was in Canada and he was having a dinner with the Canadian president, Trudeau. So apparently, some of the people that was sitting at that table overheard what Trudeau asked Donald Trump. I'm gonna let y'all hear the audio, but from what I heard, this is how it went. Trudeau was like, you putting a lot of pressure on us Canadians with them tariffs. You know, I don't think I got enough funds to do this, or I don't think I got the mentality to do this. Donald Trump was like, if you can't handle the pressure, if you think it's too much, you can always become our 51st state, and you can be the governor of the state.
And tonight we're getting some new details about that Trump-Trudeau dinner from two people who were at the table. We are told that when Trudeau told President-elect Trump that new tariffs would kill the Canadian economy, Trump joked to him that if Canada can't survive without ripping off the U.S. to the tune of $100 billion a year, then maybe Canada should become the 51st state and Trudeau could become its governor. Brett.
He ain't playing. He was serious.
But more on that.
ABC Australia accidentally cut away to a satanic ritual.
Queensland Parliament. The state government announced the proposed legislation today. It's in part due to the stabbing of a police dog during an arrest in Brisbane last year.
What the fuck was that?
These outages have shown how just one...
Well, that was weird.
This guy's always on something, man. So he starts scratching his chin. He's got something good. Always got these crazy little Easter eggs in that show, that movie. can confirm. Just waiting to see the elves. Man, DMT is crazy. Oh. I thought the elves were coming. Did a pretty good job of this. The robot elves. Oh. I think the next stage was robot elves.
I have to tell you this, and you may think I'm nuts if you want to, but this is the truth. Either these men are following the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation is it is in the Bible. They're either following it, just like a plan,
or
and bringing the prophecies in there to pass, to manipulate and control those who believe in those prophecies and neutralize them, so to speak. In other words,
or
if this is written in the Bible and God has ordained it, who am I to resist? It must come to pass, so I'm not gonna try to stop it. What a perfect way to neutralize the opposition right off the bat. Or there really is a God, and what he said was going to come to pass is coming to pass. And I named this, Behold a Pale Horse, from
I was leaning more along the lines of like it could have been rewritten knowing what the game plan is in the end, but I guess that's another theory.
Chapter 13 of the book of Revelations, the fourth horseman of the apocalypse is the pale horse. And I looked, and behold a pale horse, and his name that sat upon him was Death. And hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with the beasts of the earth. And that is taking place now today. The fourth horseman is riding across the world now.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
That is very true. Alright guys, that was another killer video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And I will see you in the next one.